Jonathan Majors finally breaks his silence and we get to hear his side of the story, which this interview is super shocking. I'm going to break this down from a licensed therapist perspective. So you guys stick around because we're going to talk about it right now. All right, so let's get into it.
Now to more of my exclusive interview with Jonathan Majors, the actor who was convicted of misdemeanor reckless assault and harassment just as his career was taking off. Majors says he always intended to take the witness stand, but didn't in the end because he felt the prior testimony was so compelling that there was nothing else for him to add. But now that the jury has spoken, he felt it was time to tell his story.
So he pretty much didn't think he needed to say anything else. So, he probably should have taken the stand. That's just my opinion.
This has been very, very, very hard and very difficult and confusing in many ways.
Jonathan Majors breaking his silence just weeks after a Manhattan jury found him guilty of misdemeanor reckless assault and harassment of his ex-girlfriend Grace Jabari. The actor, at times, emotional.
Oh, sorry. I haven't seen my daughter in a long time.
Wow. So he hasn't seen his daughter in a long time. I don't think we really take into context of, everything he's experienced. Obviously, don't condone domestic violence, don't condone, any domestic abuse. But I don't think when we talk about situations like this, we don't talk about how it impacts the family, right? Because the family is a unit, the family is a whole sector. If one piece of the machine, meaning the family, is out of whack or out of balance, then it does impact the whole family. So, I didn't think about that as well too when we talk about him being, convicted guilty, and also the whole ordeal in general. So, let's continue to break it down.
And a lot of it has to do with this situation.
In a split verdict, Majors was found.
Okay, Megan, good. Hey, man, we talk about mental health. I make a joke out of everything. He switched up and got Megan good. Okay. All right, Jonathan.
Not guilty of 2 other misdemeanors, assault with intent to cause physical injury and aggravated assault.
They're saying you didn't intend to injure her, but the result of your recklessness injured her.
Right.
Were you reckless?
I was reckless with her heart.
Not with her.
What does that mean? Being reckless with her heart. I would like for him to expound on that a little bit more, because we say I wasn't reckless with her, but I was reckless with her heart. Was it like your emotions or how she was feeling, or that's kind of confusing. Kind of answered the question without answering the question. But let's keep it right.
Not with her body.
The physical altercation started inside an SUV after Majors received a suggestive text message from another woman. Hours later, after Majors placed a 911 call, police found Jabari
Wait, she was on the floor? I never seen this before, so maybe y'all tell me. She was on the floor? What? Okay.
Unconscious on the closet floor in their apartment, as seen in this body camera footage.
You feel that you did anything wrong on the night of March 25th? If you could relive that night?
I wouldn't have picked her up.
Picked her up off the floor? If there was anything else you could have done, was you would have picked her up off the floor. She was on the floor. She was on the floor. And if there's anything else you could have done, you would have picked her up. All right, man. Let's keep it rocking.
I wouldn't have picked her up. I wouldn't have put her back in the car. I wouldn't have tried to keep her in the car. I would have gotten out that car and ran.
Okay, a little bit more elaboration. So kind of taking account and responsibility for what he did. I don't sense, and I know I'm kind of being humorous with this because I'm like, again, I never seen this situation where she was on the floor. Him saying like I was dealing with her, her emotions, as opposed to, like tampering with her emotions. I didn't tamper with her physically or hit her, damage her emotion, or damage her physically, or had any put hands on her. However he described, because the way he said it was just like, what? Like that was a little bit wordplay. But he is an actor. So he may have a little bit more of a vast vernacular than me, because I was like, what does that mean? Um, Nonetheless, it sounds like he is, taking responsibility for the situation, but it sounds as if, obviously, like, he's not claiming that he actually physically abused her. But let's keep rocking, see what else he has to say about it.
Immediately.
The two met back in 2021 on the set of Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania.
The prosecution has described your relationship with Grace Jabari as tumultuous and abusive. How would you describe that 2-year relationship?
I loved Grace. Our relationship was not healthy, and that began to reveal itself over time.
Okay, let me break this down, fellas. Let me break this down for y'all, fellas. Stay with me when I say this. Just because you love somebody don't mean you have to be with them. Just because you love somebody does not mean you should be with them. First and foremost, if you're experiencing love at that degree and it's toxic, that's not love. That might be lust or something else. That's not love. It may be what you feel like love is, but that's not really love for real, for real. It's toxic. The second thing is, it sounded like he knew it was a toxic relationship and a situation to be in, but he continued to stay in the situation despite the red flags, despite whatever else, may have came along with that, right? So breaking this down, because I know a lot of this stuff was on film, so it sounds as if this wasn't like a isolated incident. This wasn't like a first time. Again, not saying he put hands on her, because I don't want to say that, especially like, he was found guilty, but I'm not too sure what actually happened for real. I just know he was found guilty. But there's things that lead up to events like this. It's not just a one-off event. It's not just, okay, well, we had this big argument, the cops came, it was a whole thing. Like, there's situations that lead up to this. So, like, if anybody think this is like an isolated incident, like, I can guarantee, like, if I was in Vegas and I was putting my money on black, I'll put my money on black to say that this was not an isolated incident. There are probably many other incidents between them two that happened that led them up to this point. All right. So, fellas, if you're in a relationship, or fellas, if you see these red flags, go the other way. Please go the other way. Don't be with somebody just for the sake of being with somebody. You feel me? Don't be with somebody for the sake of just being with them. That's the worst thing you can do. Let's keep it rocking, though.
Why'd you stay?
I was scared. With the red flags, I found that, and I use this word, I said, oh, this is dangerous. This is months before the incident.
Ooh, what did I say? Red flags months before the incident. I ain't about to repeat myself. He already didn't said it.
I should have been brave. I should have said, no, this isn't working. And I should have walked away.
Hey, fellas, you want to be wise, learn from somebody else's mistakes. If you want to be wise, learn from somebody else's mistakes. Don't do it. You see what happens.
And I didn't.
Troubling signs in the relationship were revealed when prosecutors presented text messages where Majors expressed suicidal thoughts, saying, maybe I'm such a monster and horrible man that I don't deserve it and should just kill myself.
Were you suicidal?
The ideations of removing myself from situations permanently is a thought that I've had, since I was a kid.
Okay. On a more serious note, suicidal ideations is real. She asked that question so blunt. He answered that question, and again, with a little wordplay. I have had thoughts of removing myself permanently. Like, yes, those are suicidal ideations. For those who don't know and need to break that down a bit, yes, he's had suicidal ideations. It sounds like he's been having them for a long time. So I personally feel and hope that, Jonathan, you are getting the help that you deserve, and that you are, despite all the stuff that's going on, most definitely get the help you deserve, brother. Most definitely get the help you deserve, especially when we're talking about suicide ideation, because a lot of times they don't believe black men when we talk about we have suicidal ideations, and it's not a thing, and but I most definitely got to take that a little bit more serious.
Since I was a young boy on the farm in Texas, it's not there anymore. I've done that. I'm doing the work to keep it at bay and make sure it's not there anymore.
Shout out to you, bro, for doing the work. I'll say that much. Shout out to you for doing the work. Besides all that wordplay and all that stuff you're doing, shout out to you for doing the work. Continue to do the work, please.
Through it all, Major's new girlfriend, actress Megan Good, has remained by his side, even present for our interview.
Okay. I'm not going to say too much about that right now, but okay. All right, Jonathan. We see what you're doing, bro. It's cool. We see what you're doing, though, dog. It's all good.
How would you describe your relationship?
She's an angel. She's held me down like...
Hey, first and foremost, Megan Good, I know growing up, especially being, a millennial, we've seen her in different movies and things of that nature. But shout out to her. She's really a phenomenal woman. Like, I've done research on her. I know she's very God-fearing. Shout out to her and, being supportive to Jonathan during this time. But Jonathan, we see you, man. We see what you're doing, dog. We see. Come on now.
Like a Coretta.
Oh, wait, did he sound like a Coretta? So wasn't he all right? So wasn't he talking about in the tape, like, you need to be like a Coretta to the girl he was talking to the Caucasian woman he was talking to already, like, you need to be like a Coretta. All right, John, we see what you're doing, man. I guess you found you have found your Coretta. Dr. King, you have found your Coretta, which is cool. Shout out to you, bro.
I'm so blessed to have her.
As you should be.
The relationship is still fresh, but, I think I found her.
The March 2023 incident thrust Major's dating history into the forefront. A Rolling Stone article back in June detailed multiple allegations of abusive behavior dating back to Major's relationships in college. Allegations Majors vehemently denies. His attorneys offered past partners to defend him.
Have you ever had issues with domestic abuse?
I've witnessed it, but never participated, I mean, I've been smacked up before, but yeah, never exercised it.
Makes sense, I suppose.
Those relationships went back to when I was, 21, 22 years old, and I just think, was I a jerk? Was I, a mean guy?
I'm gonna say this much. It sounds like, and I'm starting to feel a little bit of empathy for him, just a little bit, because I feel like he has a lot of demons that, like, he needs to like work on, and demons doesn't necessarily mean like you're a bad person or anything like that, but like the demons of your past, like, again, when people put stuff out there, like, okay, you're 15 years later, you had this incident in college. Now, again, not saying it's right for, or I'm saying like, oh, well, they should just dismiss that 100%. But there's things that we've all done, not saying like in that vast example of like domestic violence, but, somebody could pull the receipts nowadays on anybody at any point in time, and that person is no longer that person, so it kind of sucks when you're in a court situation, they bring up that. Yeah, that does suck. I'll say that much. It does suck for somebody to bring up somebody else's past in a court proceeding, especially if it's like over a decade ago. Yeah.
And I go, yeah, knowing what I know now, like, oh, severe depression, childhood trauma. I've had very few relationships, so I can gather what situations we're talking about. Yeah, I was not the best boyfriend all the time.
But never hit a woman?
Never hit a woman. My hands have never struck a woman, ever.
After gaining critical acclaim for films like The Last Black Man in San Francisco, Majors' once red-hot career is now seemingly at a standstill.
Hey man, I was just like thinking about that too. 2022 going into 2023, Jonathan Majors was about to be like he was on a run. He was on a run. He was about to run it up. He was in hella movies. And then he got the Marvel movie. But Ant-Man, like, man, he was finna run it up.
And how are you feeling?
Moments after the verdict, Marvel Studios dropped him. He was set to play the prominent character Kang in upcoming films.
I am Kang!
But despite the possibility of serving time, Majors believes the script for his career is still being written.
You think he'll ever work in Hollywood again?
Yeah, I do. I pray I do. But it's God's plan and God's timing.
For those who
For sure, God's plan and God's time. I can't even argue with that, brother.
say, look, he's convicted at this point, what would you say? I mean, do you deserve a second chance?
Well, I think I do. I hope other people think that.
During closing arguments, Jonathan Majors' attorney said his worst fears as a black man calling 911 in America came true. Those words brought Majors to tears in court. He says race very much played a role in his arrest. He claims he was injured. He points to surveillance video where Grace Jabari pursued him, chasing him for blocks. She was arrested but never prosecuted. He calls that unjust. And we'll have much more streaming tonight at 7 p.m. on ABC News Live Prime and on Thursday on Impact by Nightline.
Shout out to Jonathan Majors, despite what you're going through, brother. I hope you get the help that you deserve. I hope that you get the healing that you need from this and that you can bounce back. I would love to see some more work from you personally. I know you was on the run, like I said before, and my hopes is that, you can continue to build, brother. My prayers are with you. My thoughts are with you. I appreciate y'all tapping in. Make sure you guys like, share, subscribe, do all that fun stuff, you know what I mean, to keep this channel going. I appreciate y'all for tapping in. Y'all take care. Peace.